Let's get right to it because we don't have a lot of time. But what a fun movie, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay. We have the co-writer, the co-producer, and star of the movie. Please welcome Glen Powell. Worst director.
Yeah, you know, sometimes, like, you know, as an actor, you're a glutton for punishment. You know, when someone slaps you around, you just gotta go back. No, Rick, you know, we both had amazing experiences with Rick. I'm not sure, did you guys get, on Last Flag Flying, did you guys get the ranch experience?
No.
You're probably too big of stars to stay in bunk beds at that point, but we
You got to stay in bunk beds?
you know, it was, I did this movie Fast Food Nation when I was like 14 years old with Rick. Just a small little part, but you know, it really, you know, those experiences really cast either a positive experience or a negative experience on what it is to be in this business, and he creates such a warm feeling on sets. And then, you know, Everybody Wants Them, I feel like, is really where we crafted an amazing creative partnership. You know, we really stay close and find ways to kind of just create more life together on set. And you know, I had some of the other guys from the baseball team, you know, they pitched me ideas, and I'd be kind of the Rick whisperer, because I felt like our goals were always aligned. And yeah, it's just in this business to find someone who's not only, you feel like your definition of success in a scene or a movie is like the same, but also every step of the way is just wonderful. And he's just like a thoughtful guy who just loves movies.
He's a good dude. But you went from being a child actor to being an adult actor with him. That's a transition not a lot of people can make. So was he like a father figure to you at first? Or
no, he's definitely not a father figure. He's more like the cool uncle, maybe. You know, he's like Uncle Rick. You know, I don't know. He's, you know, the thing about it is that he's got such a youthful spirit. You know, he's so curious. He's so creative that there's nothing about Rick. You know, obviously, nothing about him makes him feel like holier than thou. Like he's never preaching at you. He's always talking to you. Even when I was 14, he was asking. I remember I broke my arm right before Fast Food Nation, playing baseball, and I thought I was going to get fired because I'm like, I got a broken arm and it doesn't really fit the scene. And I had to call him and I said, I broke my arm. I got a cast on it. And he goes, oh, yeah. He's like, you know, there was always a kid in high school with a cast. You know, that's pretty cool. He's like, make sure people sign it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want people, you know, it's like, so cool. Like, it's always about creating life and authenticity.
I found him that way too. Very easy to talk to.
Yes.
Did you do a rehearsal on this? I know we have actors and writers and directors, producers.
Yes.
And how like a week or two prior to starting the shoot?
This was really interesting because when Rick and I were like writing this together, you know, we'd kind of written it over the pandemic. We'd outlined a bunch of it and had a pretty solid draft that I think, you know, everybody was happy with, at least to get other actors on board. And what makes Rick's process so cool and different, I think it's something really to steal as an actor, is you just get other actors together, you just read the scenes over and over, and you talk to them. It's like, would you say that? Do you feel like that's your character? Because actors are thinking about their characters and their voices more than anyone else, and what you end up doing is you end up just polishing, and you just crowdsource the best ideas. And then the more you read it, then by the time you get on set, it's just about performing it for the crew. Really.
Right.
You know, you know the scene and you know what makes it work, and then the sandbox is fun. It's not riddled with anxiety. It's riddled with, you just get to play.
So this IP came from a story that was in Texas Monthly, was it?
Yeah.
I think. And did you find it, or did Rick find it? How did that come about?
It was Michael Costigan at a company called Aggregate was like, hey, have you heard about this article? I was like, no, I haven't heard about the article. I read it. And I was like, wow, this guy's fascinating. And he's like, who do you think would direct it? You know, and I was like, I think Richard Linklater would crush this. You know, it's like there's nobody better with, you know, characters or the contemplation of any sort of interesting subject. And so I brought it to Rick, and and then we just started kind of noodling on the idea. You know, it was kind of he had read the article. I brought him the article. I was like, there's this really cool article. I think there's something here. He's like, yeah, I read that article when you were in 7th grade. The article had been around for a very long time. And, but we just noodled on what it could be, and really finding, I think, the one one line of that article that really kind of kicked off the fire was this story about a woman who, who had met with, who had met with him about kind of meeting Gary to kill her husband, and them striking up a relationship together. And we kind of took that idea and we're like, I wonder what happened to that relationship, where they went to from there, and that was kind of the beginning of where his journey, looking at the article initially, and I think Brad Pitt optioned it, 8 years prior or something like that, and everybody kind of hit the same wall, and then we kind of took this concept and really dug into research and kind of dug into our imagination.
Gary Johnson, wasn't
Gary
it?
Johnson.
Gary Johnson, he passed away just a couple of years ago, didn't he?
Literally like a month before we started shooting this.
Did he know that you were going to make him a murderer at the end?
Rick let him know. Yeah, Rick let him know.
And what did he think about that?
He was like the most chill guy you ever met. When Rick's like, yeah, so I just talked to Gary, kind of ran through the whole script, and Rick's like, do you want to read it? He's like, no, I'm good. He's like, but just kind of tell me the story. And told the story. He's like, oh, that's funny. Okay, yeah, cool. Good. It's like it was like he wasn't one of those guys that he was just a all around great guy, and did was all the sort of specificity of Gary. That's where you have like a really cool character. All the stuff is Stranger Than Fiction, but it's all the real Gary Johnson.